Hi everybody and welcome to Express Golf. I'm Tom Denby. Now today I'm going to review the new Cobra SpeedZone Drivers. We've got two different heads in it. We've got the standard SpeedZone and then the SpeedZone Extreme. The Extreme is a slightly bigger head, targeted technically probably at a handicapped golfer. The SpeedZone has a bit more functionality in terms of moving the weights around it, so technically targeted as a better player who's looking at spin rates. But I'm really interested to try these because the irons are definitely performing and it's going to be very interesting to see what the drivers do. So what are Cobra saying on the website about these drivers? So when we look at the initial technology that we've got involved here, so we've got the CNC milled infinity face that's just like an engine. It creates horsepower. The driver face creates ball speed. So golf's first CNC milled infinity face increases the milled area by 95% and expands the zone of the maximum ball speed. They've got a titanium T-bar speed chassis, so the new T-bar speed chassis reduces the amount of titanium used in order to create stronger frame, and that can withstand high-speed collisions while providing feel and stability. They've got 10% more carbon fibre, so carbon fibre is becoming a huge player within the driver market. So they've got 366 carbon wraparound that covers 50% of the club body, adding stiffness to the chassis while saving 25 grams of discretionary weight that we can use to increase forgiveness. We also then look at the speed, the weighting within the head. They've got 69 grams of mass is positioned as low as possible to create the most efficient transfer of energy to the ball for high launch and low spin. They've then got the aerodynamic shape, which helps to create higher club head speed. They've also got a higher moment of inertia design in terms of the weight positioning to help high speed stability. So also when we look on the website, one thing that I really like is they compare the two models and tell them who the target is at. So your SpeedZone Driver is targeting 0 to 10 handicapper, the Extreme is 10 to 25. Both got CNC milled head, both have the same head size. The Extreme Driver has a profile that is oversized, so it's elongated. They don't have the adjustable weight in the Extreme, they do in the standard. So they've both got the custom fit shafts. In terms of the loft options available, you can go up to a 12 degree in the Extreme and up to 10.5 in the standard. And then the spin ratio, there's a low spin there's a high spin in the Extreme and then a low spin in your SpeedZone Driver. So I like the fact they compare them on the website, so the manufacturers could take note of that actually. So loads of tech involved. Let's give them a hit and see what they say. So what's my initial thoughts in terms of how these aesthetically look? Really classic, clean with a splash of modern technology, I suppose is the best way to put it. We've got the splash of yellow on the bottom that I really like. I like the fact that we've now got the old-fashioned black shiny finish to it. The CNC milled face that they put on here is actually a different finish to it, which actually helps you line it up, which is great. But I actually like the concept of what they're trying to do from the way it looks. So behind the ball, it's got quite a classic shape to it and a classic look to it with some nice flashes of colour on it. In terms of how it sounds off the golf club, sounds really good. So it's got quite a loud explosive sound off it, which is quite of old school Cobra drivers. That's what kind of happened with them. They really had a loud sound off it. There was even back in the day a driver that there was an article about how loud it was actually. So I do like the sound it's creating. It really feels that you're getting a lot of distance off it. It feels really good, really solid. So let's move on to the extreme head. Is there a difference in the way this looks? Absolutely. It looks more elongated at the back, so it has that appearance of being bigger. You can't have the movable weight technology in the bottom of it, so it's definitely designed at a high handicap golfer who just wants a fairly simple concept that's going to be nice and forgiving. In terms of how it sounds compared to the standard SpeedZone, it's actually very, very similar. It's quite loud, it's quite explosive of it, which I like. How it looks is great. It's very, very. It looks big, so it looks like it's very forgiving. I like that concept, and it actually appears more upright, which it could be, to be fair, because ultimately, if you make any golf club more upright, it makes it a bit more draw biased. So from that side, that does make sense, and it feels very similar, to be fair. So it's a very good feeling driver to say it's targeted at a handicap golfer. So I actually like this one. If I had to push to shove, I'd probably prefer it. So it's going to be interesting to see the numbers compared to the two on Trackman, because I'm using the same shaft. So let's see the differences in the head here. So let's look at the numbers on Trackman between the two heads. So at the bottom here we've got the standard S-head driver, at the top we've got the Extreme. So clubhead speed-wise, both fairly similar. The speed off the face is again fairly similar on the two, so the smash ratio is fairly similar. So spin off the face, so 3,000 revs on the Extreme and 2.9 on the standard SZ, and the launch angles are slightly different. The lofts were the same, but the launch angles a bit more on the Extreme, which is good, because if that's targeted at somebody who needs that little bit more loft, brilliant. So distance-wise, the Extreme suffered slightly because of the launch angle being a bit higher, so it's 224 rather than 228 in terms of the carry. But both doing a fairly similar thing, so I'm actually pleased with that, because I wouldn't want the Extreme driver to be that extreme, if you like, in terms of skewing the numbers. I'd want it still to do the same thing. So overall, this is a really interesting test and a really interesting feel for the difference between the two heads. So ultimately, what they've created is a driver that looks bigger, more forgiving, but actually still a better player probably could still use it. So overall thoughts of this SpeedZone and the SpeedZone Extreme. I like what they're doing with the concept in terms of separating the two heads, targeting the two different golfers. I actually think there's more of a crossover than they think. I think actually a better player could use this Extreme head. I certainly liked it. Will the high handicap golfer suffer with the standard SZ? Probably not. There's probably still enough help there to enable them to use that driver, but actually I still get what they're trying to do with the two different heads. So really like the feel, really like the look. I like the fact they've got the two heads into it. So really, really good product from Cobra. So you've been watching the Express Golf channel. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell button so you get all the notifications of all our new videos, and we look forward to seeing you soon.